I'm Zoe McEwen, course consultant with the UK Academy of Wedding and Event Planning, and today I'm going to be chatting to one of our students, Lucy Gallagher. Hi, Lucy.
Hello.
Hi. So, Lucy, you're not in the UK, so can you just explain to everybody where you are?
Yes, I'm based in Mexico, about an hour and a half south of Cancun, in a place called Puerto Aventuras.
Right. So, have you always been based there? Is that where you've lived, grew up?
No, I mean, my life is actually very complex, as you can hear by my accent. My mom's actually English, my dad's French. I grew up in Southeast Asia, and I ended up living in Mexico. I've been here since 1997 now.
Okay. So, have you always been a wedding planner?
No, I haven't. I'm actually a marine biologist by trade, and actually at quite a high level. I have 2 master's degrees, which are completely science-based and very academic, which is the main reason why I'm now out here in Mexico. I actually started my career as a marine biologist in Belize and made my way up the coast. And in the end, wedding planning actually found me. It wasn't something I ever thought I would do, but it just so happened that I was good at it, and I kept on going, and I love it.
Okay, and that's sort of a common story, that they either plan their wedding or somebody offers them an opportunity and then they think, oh, actually I can do this and I like it, and it grows. Quite a change though from marine biology.
It was. I mean, there is a very long story behind it. The whole path took quite a few years, going from marine biology to becoming wedding planner, but very, very quickly, whilst I was working as a marine biologist, we actually set up an organization which was dedicated to protecting the environment in this area. And people used to come in asking for things like, I don't know, biodegradable mosquito repellent or sunscreen, which didn't exist at the time. And I started selling that kind of produce. And as that area of the nonprofit started to grow, it actually became profitable, and I set up a business, and that was an organic store, so you could find all sorts of cosmetics there, which were basically organic and biodegradable. That turned into a spa, and this is the cue to how I got into wedding planning. We became vendors. We became vendors to basically going to weddings, doing people's hair and nails. And then on one occasion, one of the wedding planners actually couldn't continue with the work that she was doing, and she just literally handed me a file and said, get on with it, I need to go and see my brother who's ill. And that's how it all started. I thought, wow, this is actually quite nice, and it's pretty.
So, yeah. It was kind of a journey though, and you were sort of seeing openings, so you're quite entrepreneurial and sort of working with what you've got and then diversifying and branching out as you could see an area growing.
Yeah, I mean, I was ready to leave the field of conservation anyway. It was getting to me. I'd been working in it for 15 years. I didn't see any progress, and particularly in this area, there was more and more destruction. I worked particularly in the field of coral reefs, and I worked in this whole region, which basically spans from Cancun down to Honduras. And I just found it very heartbreaking what was going on. And I was getting to the point where I was not really enjoying what I was doing anymore, because it was constantly kind of like hitting our heads against brick walls. And then I also decided I wanted to start a family, and all this traveling and diving was not conducive to having a baby.
No.
So pretty much the same year that I gave up marine biology and opened up the store, I got pregnant. I got pregnant within 6 months. I mean, it was all perfectly planned.
Yeah.
And then everything went from there. This business is a lot easier for me, although of course we work most weekends. It's a lot easier to handle family life and the business. I do a lot of work from home as well, which is great.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's a really good point, because it can be a very flexible career, and one that maybe you come to later in life when you've got children. Perhaps they're about to start school and you think, I just want that flexibility of being at home if they're ill, or choosing when I go to my meeting at weekends, and often your husband or other family members are around to take over. So how long have you worked at the Hacienda venue? How long have you worked there now?
I have been here for 2 years. I actually started out here as a property manager, and although I was already working in weddings, they were desperate to find somebody to run the estates. It wasn't exactly my career plan or path. And I'm saying it like this because my boss is sitting out there. He's probably going, but he knew that. I mean, he knew that I found weddings a lot more interesting, and I actually developed the area of weddings, and now it's really taken off. And we must get about 4 to 5 inquiries a day for weddings here, which is actually huge for this area because we're not a hotel. We're primarily dedicated to vacation rentals. We do 1 week rental normally from Saturday to Saturday, and big families come here. But they're very pretty. The design of them is like old style haciendas, like old Spanish haciendas. Yeah. So very high walls and big arches, and it's very romantic. So people really look here more than anywhere. They want the beach and they want these fantastic homes all at the same time. So it's a great venue.
No, sounds perfect. Sounds lovely. Is it really hot at the moment?
It's not. I mean, for you guys, it probably is, but for us, it's just like, oh, this is dreadful. It's probably 25 degrees today. That's in Celsius. Nice. So it's kind of like, it's a UK summer weather. It was very hot yesterday. We're going through these whole ups and downs at the moment. We're getting a cold front from the north right now. So we're miserable.
Planning also allows you to work in all these lovely locations because all these countries, everyone has weddings, and here it's about 7 degrees and wet and windy. Not so nice.
I find this really weird, but for me, looking right now on blogs such as Sami Pretty and Wedding Chicks and whatnot, and I see all these beautiful weddings out in the snow with beautiful red flowers, and that for me is exotic. It's like, oh wow, wouldn't that be nice? Everybody's dreaming of this, the ocean and whatnot. You have to kind of give yourself wake-up calls constantly and remind yourself that we're incredibly fortunate to live where we are. One can get very complacent living in a place like this. So it's really important.
With you, I'm just thinking, when you work in one venue that's really beautiful and you're selling that one venue, it's different than being a wedding planner that's working
absolutely
and going to lots of different venues.
Yeah. I mean, right now what we're doing is we're actually growing the company. I mean, the wedding side of the company, because certain times of the year we cannot actually have weddings in these estates because of the fact that they're actually vacation homes and they're within a residential area. The noise gets too much for the neighbors. So we kind of made a pact with the neighbors, and in what we consider here to be the high season, which is basically January through to June, more or less, we can't really do weddings here except April and May, which are basically our there are low season. Not many people travel here during those months, and that's when we have most weddings. But so I find myself 6 months of the year not twiddling my thumbs because there's plenty of work to do, but thinking I wish I could take that wedding because it's a really nice wedding, and I like these people and they like me, and so I want to take them somewhere else. So we started looking at other venues, and I'm starting to move more as an independent wedding planner and taking the business out of here for those months. Tulum has become extremely popular with the New York crowd. It's a very chic, or eco-chic as they call it, venue, and I don't know if you've seen pictures of it, but it's become, as I said, like one of the prime places in the world for Americans to get married at, and that's only 45 minutes away from me. So that's where I'm going more often now.
Yeah, again, you've seen that you're getting the brides, you're getting the con to work with them or place them. So you're now recognizing that and moving it somewhere else so that you're still keeping that business for yourself, in effect, in another version of diversifying, just to to fill that downtime, which is a really sensible thing to do. So why did you decide to do the course? So you've already got this job and you've been working for a bit. How did the course fit in?
Okay, this is going to sound kind of, I don't know, from a UK perspective, this might not make very much sense, but from a Latin perspective, out here, the importance of certificates is huge. You get certificates for everything. Whatever you attend to, they'll give you a certificate, whether it's a talk or whether it's just a meeting or whether it's actually a course. You'll always get some sort of piece of paper saying that you attended a presentation, a course, or whatever. Names, as in like your actual grade as a person, your academic grade is always used when you refer to people, such as you will, just like you do with doctors in the UK, well, over here you have, I would be, for instance, called biologist Lucy Gallagher, or maybe my partner, who's a lawyer, would be called licenciado, and his surname. And they really, really put a lot of emphasis on what it is you study. And so I obviously do not have any certificates at all with regards to wedding planning. And it's a very cutthroat industry here. If you are not certified, you end up being put on this pile over there, like, oh, she's just one of those. And then those who are certified group, they meet, they have their little luncheons and their tea parties, and they talk about things, and they progress, and they, you know, they share ideas.
Yeah.
And it's a terrible thing to say, but we're a few of us who actually work in this industry and work a lot but are not certified, we're not allowed to be part of that group. So I was thinking, first of all, the most important thing would be to be certified. So yeah, I'm actually recognized as also being a certified wedding planner.
Okay.
But the real reason is personal, is because I've never actually studied this, and I just want to get information from my peers, people who've been doing this for years, and actually get more of a structure to what I do, which is, it's not all over the place. I'm very structured with what I do, but maybe I'm missing something. I always feel like I might be missing an element that other wedding planners might know about. So I like that.
And I think, you know, you're probably not missing something, but the course will definitely show you other ways of doing it. You've fallen into a pattern that works and that's good enough for where you are and what you do, but maybe you could look at other things. And certainly like the business units and the sales and the marketing will just, because you have to go through it on the course to get to the end, it will make you reflect on those things, rather than, you know, you're busy with your planning your weddings, and then the extra sales and marketing or social media is probably at the bottom of your list. The course will help you to kind of go through all of those parts again and think, am I doing the best I can? Also, technology moves really quickly, and you know, the course will give you fresh ideas on new technologies, boards, or putting proposals together, or spreadsheets, different versions of packages that you can use that maybe make life easier for you and present your ideas to your brides better too. The other thing I'm just thinking of is obviously what you were sort of going back to what you were saying about the group that's certified and the group that aren't, is that it sounds like there's room for a new group.
And I mean, we are, the people I work with, I mean, my vendors I'm extremely close to. A lot of them started more or less at the same time as I did, and are very, very professional. There is definitely a new group in that. For instance, my best friend happens to be a wedding planner. She's my competition, but she's also a wedding planner. So we share ideas. We haven't got that notion of like, oh no, these are my vendors and I'm not going to share them with you. I share my vendors with her all the time because I want my vendors to do well. Obviously, because if they do well, I do well. I mean, there's this whole new concept going on right now where I think there's a lot more sharing information. It's not so competitive. People often tell me when they come to the venues, obviously there are external wedding planners that come in here, and I do show them around and I help them and I give them tips and I tell them who they can work with and etc., etc. And I always get that comment like, you're so nice. I'm like, well, why shouldn't I be? I mean, we're working in this today. You're filling my venue.
Yeah, and I mean, the feedback is then good. All wedding planners should be good, should help each other.
Absolutely.
Because, you know, it creates a good feeling about wedding planners, and it grows the industry. You know, we want more wedding planners. We want more people working in the wedding industry. We want it to be popular and to grow, and more people to use them and value them. So, you know, it only makes sense to, you know, to encourage those relationships and not see yourself as competition. And also, you know, if you're good at what you do and you know your niche and your brand, you're probably off anyway. And so you're probably not as much of a clash as you think you are.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is not completely selfish as well. Of course, when there's a venue going on, I'm always in there going, wow, I wonder how she's going to do this, and I wonder what these guys are going to do. And you're constantly exchanging ideas. This can be kind of a very solitary job. There's not much of that. You know, we're going to share ideas and brainstorm, and even when there are the little tea parties or whatever, there's not that much exchange of information. There's not that much hands-on exchange of information. So let's create this wedding together kind of situation.
Yeah, and again, for you, in a similar venue, on a similar location all the time, you're not perhaps reflecting and seeing the bigger picture, like you said, about everybody else in the outside world, what's going on and what the trends are and what's popular and what else you could be offering as an add-on service.
Yeah. No, I completely feed off my vendors and other wedding planners that may be coming in and out.
So how do you fit the course in with all this and your family?
I don't know how to listen. I work nights anyway, and I think when once you become a wedding planner and you do this for a living, your time is very much consumed. I mean, your time has to be flexible. I work very early in the morning and very late at night. Most of my brides are from North America, so they're either American or Canadian. If they're on the East Coast, they're on the same timeline as me. But if they're on the West Coast, they're 5 hours behind me. I also have a bride who's in Singapore right now, so she's well ahead of me. So I have to be whenever they're not working. So it's either really early for them, so very late at night at me is very early for them, and they're waking up in the morning and we exchange ideas and whatnot. I do huge amounts of Skyping. And that's how, because I'm a destination wedding planner, I don't really get to see them. Although this weekend I do have 2 couples coming in, and I love it when they come in because we can basically go through everything.
Yeah,
so I'm not working 9 to 5. What I have to do is fit it in wherever I can. If I find myself in an evening where I'm not Skyping or I'm not, it's time to study. And just unit 1 has taken me almost 3 weeks to get, because I would do little bits and then I come back and then I go back again. And this morning I thought
you're kind of enjoying it, and also that you want to get it right, which is good. So if you're enjoying it and it's working and it's fitting in, then you've got 2 years. Take the time, take from it what you need. Ask us, get as much support as you need, and fit it around everything else. There are no deadlines, there's no pressure, so just enjoy.
I've also been incorporating my own wedding planning. I mean, it's really, for instance, when I did my mood board, that was for the bride and groom who are actually arriving tonight, with colors which are definitely not my type of colors at all. And I forced myself to do it because I would never have picked those colors for a wedding. But so I'm trying to incorporate what I'm doing in an everyday.
That was lovely. I loved it. I thought the color combination was really nice. But it's interesting what you said. When you submitted it, you said, and that's something that people don't always think about. They're asking for it just goes against everything. And it happens less for a wedding planner that works independently, because usually they come to you because of your brand and what you portray. So they've got an idea of what you like. But when you're a venue, you've really got to offer absolutely everything. And sometimes you're red and black and you're going to think, no, red and black. But to other people, that's perfect,
No, I have actually done a red, white and black wedding. It looked like a vampire wedding. It was one of my very first weddings here, and I was horrified. But to be honest, it completely reflected the personality of the bride. And it just worked. Even the sweets bar was red, white and black candy. I mean, like American type candy. And it was just, for me, it was really good.
Part of what we love about the job.
Sorry?
What we love about the job is that everything's different.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the brides are different as well. I mean, it's very important for me. I've had to adapt my character to big cultural differences. I've had to adapt well, it's not very difficult with Americans, because working with Americans is extremely easy, and Canadians even more. But working with Mexican brides, they should make a TV program about it, because they know they're like that as well. They know they're bridezillas, and they know everything has to be perfect. And that is just part of the character of particularly middle to high class Mexican women. And for me at the beginning, it was a complete and utter shock. I was like, they're really horrible. But they weren't. That was just the way they actually do things. So, I mean, everything is very different, actually. And so, I mean, I would just be thinking I'm doing everything wrong here, and it just turns out to be fantastic. It's just the way they do things in Mexico, and I didn't know about this.
Yeah, and in any job, in anything, there's that learning curve in the beginning, and you work it out, and then you think, okay, well, they're happy at the end. This is this is obviously how it works and how it goes, and you've learned that. I know this is the start of your working day, so we're gonna sort of stop questions for me, because this is well, sort of just after, nearly getting towards 10 o'clock in the morning for you, isn't it? Are you?
It is. It's 9:50.
Just starting out. So have you got any questions for me? Or
No,
a chat via email if you need anything.
I mean, I probably will later on. I mean, I've just started and I'm desperately trying to get my first assignment in at the moment. I'm spending hours on it, and you're probably going to think, oh my goodness, why is this 50 pages long? It's like, I don't like this, girl.
Don't make it 50 pages. I'm going to mark that. Don't make it 50 pages. No, you're fine. So if you need us, we're here. And I'm going to stop now because you need to get on with your work. And I'm so today. It's been really nice speaking to you and having a different perspective. Not only are you abroad, but working in a venue. It's really interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Lucy. Bye.
Bye, everyone.